Happy holy evening to all of you, and I'm so pleased you're all here. About 2 weeks ago, I was in yoga in Westport early in the morning in this hot yoga class, and the yogi told this crazy story from Hindu mythology. And at the end of it, I turned to my wife, who was at the mat next to me, and I said, "That's a Christmas story." She gave me this sort of quizzical look, somewhat bemused, and just said, "Don't bother me," basically. So I'm going to give you my yogi Hindu Christmas story that's actually not a Christmas story, except that it is a Christmas story tonight. Now, it begins with 2 footnotes. There's many variations on this story, and I'm going to give you the one that I like. And secondly, as you probably know, Hinduism has a very different understanding of the divine than the monotheistic religions do. So, for instance, there are as many as 33 major gods in Hinduism and as many as 330 million gods in their pantheon of gods in their mythology. So the story is about a family of Hindu gods, and the father is Shiva, and he's a major god, and he is married to the goddess Parvati. Now, when I heard the story, I heard it as Pavrati, and I'm thinking, well, I know some people think he's a god. That's a joke. You're all asleep at 10 o'clock at night. So he's married to the goddess Parvati, and they have 2 kids who are very different from one another, almost exact opposites. Their oldest is Skanda, and those of you who do yoga, Skandasana comes from him. And Skanda is lean, and he is active, and he's full of action, and he's always out playing with his friends. He's the athletic one. He's the go-getter. And as he moves around, he rides upon a very, very, very fast pet peacock, and when he grows up, he becomes the god of war. The younger brother, Ganesh, is probably one of the most well-known Hindu deities. He's the one who is pot-bellied, the boy who's pot-bellied and has the elephant head, for those of you who see these things and know not what you're looking at. And Ganesh is the fun-loving one. He's the homebody. He likes to curl up with books. He's always eating sweets in his stories as a kid. And when he gets around the world, he rides upon a mouse, which of course is ridiculous because he's an elephant and elephants don't like mice. Remember that? Now, one day this Vedic sage called Narada, a big guy in the Vedas, comes and he shows up at their cottage, his little house they have on the mountaintop where they live, and he's got a gift, and it comes from Lord Brahma, okay, and it's a mango. It's the golden mango. And the golden mango, if you eat the golden mango, it confers to you knowledge and wisdom. A little bit of an echo to our own Genesis story here around the question of the apple, right? And he gives the mango, the golden mango, to Shiva, the dad, and he says, "This is for your kids." Well, they can't quite figure out what to do with the golden mango. So Shiva has a conversation with Parvati, and they decide that they will have a race. And he gets the boys together, and the boys are competing and wanting this golden mango. And he said, "We're going to have a race. Whoever circles the universe 3 times and gets back to the house first gets the golden mango." You all with me so far? Okay, just checking. So, before he can even finish the contest, Skanda is gone. He is on his pet peacock and he bolts. And right? He has got the fastest pet peacock in the universe and he's off. Now this is problematic for Ganesh, who doesn't move around too much and rides on a mouse. So he goes back to his room to think about this. And while he's thinking about this, Skanda is about halfway around the first ride around the universe, and comes zooming in after being there making one tour. And he looks down and he sees his brother still hanging in the house, kind of looking at a book, trying to figure out what to do. And he is psyched, right? off, zoom on the pet peacock he goes. And he takes off for the second time around the universe, and he has this vague feeling that his brother is ahead of him. And it's bugging him, so he goes faster and faster and faster on his pet peacock. Comes back to the house, twice around the universe. Ganesh has not left the house yet. He's a bit befuddled, looks down upon his brother, gone. The pet peacock. If you've ever been to the horse races, it's the clubhouse turn, right? He's going to bring home the victory for the golden mango. And he takes off. Off he goes. Now Ganesh gets up, and what does he do? He asks his mother and his father to come out and to sit on the front lawn. Front yard. I don't know if they have lawns in Hindu mythology. To go sit out front. How's that? And he goes and he puts his mom and dad down. Meanwhile, his brother is accelerating around the clubhouse. And Ganesh folds his hands in great devotion, and he walks around his parents 3 times. And when he gets done walking around his parents 3 times, in comes the pet peacock, right? And Skanda gets off and he said, "The golden mango is mine." And Ganesh looks at him, the younger brother, and says, "Not so fast, older brother." And disdain pours out of Skanda and says, "You didn't even leave the house. You should be disqualified." And Ganesh says, "Not so fast, older brother." And he says, "But I have traversed the universe 3 times. I have gone around the world 3 times. And Ganesh says, "Well, I have done the same, and I beat you at it." And he said, "Here's how it is, older brother. My parents are my universe. They are the world to me, and I circled them 3 times before you completed your journey." Ooh. So Shiva and Parvati put their heads together, and they award the golden mango to their son Ganesh, who walked around them 3 times. So, why is this a Christmas story? This is a Christmas story because we spend most of our lives like Skanda. You ever think about that? We are accelerating as people, and we are going faster and faster and faster. And as Skanda took off with little thought, it is hard for us to think while we are accelerating. And who are we competing with, right? Are we in this great competition? Who are we in competition with, right? And who are we trying to beat? So we zing around on our pet peacocks, zinging along, and then tonight, on Christmas night, we become Ganesh, right? Now we do what Ganesha does. Ganesha doesn't do the whole thing. He does the central, most meaningful thing, right? He goes to love. That is the center of his world, his love for his parents, and he surrounds them with great devotion. And we do the same thing tonight, where we stop our pet peacocks, we park them out the door, and we come in and we slow down and we come to the manger and we circle the manger in great devotion. We go to the place of love. Now, as so many of you know, for faithful Christians, Jesus is the center of the universe. He's the center of their universe. And here I'm reminded of something I read in David Brooks's last book called The Second Mountain. And he's quoting this evangelist, John Stott. And the sentence is this. It comes from John Stott. The central message of the gospel is not the teachings of Jesus Christ, but Jesus himself, the human and divine figure. So it is Jesus himself who matters, right? Okay, it's not what Jesus does and who it is, it's who Jesus is. It's about his being and not about his doing, right? And we see that incredibly clearly in the baby Jesus, right? One of the things I love about Christmas is that Jesus doesn't teach us anything. He doesn't talk, right? He's a baby. He's a baby, right? The power of Christmas is not in the words, it's in the fact that Jesus is the Word. Right? Remember in the beginning of John's Gospel, the preface to John's Gospel, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God, And there's a kind of beautiful nuance in this too, because remember how the next verses go, right? It says, He was in the beginning with God, and all things were made through Him, and without Him was not anything made that was made. I love that. Was not anything made that was made. Probably wouldn't do so well in an English class today, right? But the point is, Jesus as the center of the universe is also, we believe, the creator of the universe through the Word. And then at Christmas, of course, we get, and the Word became flesh and dwelt among us, full of grace and truth. And we beheld His glory, glory as the only Son from the Father. So that's the business. That's the business of tonight, is to behold His glory, right? That's what Christmas is. It's simply, the heart of it is just simply going to the manger and beholding His glory. That's it. And you remember, now that you're experts in one story in Hindu mythology, the golden mango confers knowledge and wisdom. But Jesus confers, as it says in John's Gospel, grace upon grace. John's Gospel says, and from His fullness we have all received grace upon grace. So there it is. That's the Christmas gift. The grace upon grace of Jesus. Just being with Jesus. That's it. And the beautiful thing about it is, it's nothing more. And yet, it's everything, right? I mean, who amongst us does not need grace upon grace? It's a hard thing to be a human being. And it's a hard thing, oftentimes, to be a human being in the world we live in now. It just is. And yet, Jesus is the light of the world, and that light will not be extinguished by the darkness. And we are the ones who are to reflect that light. And we reflect that light when we go to the manger and we let the light come to us. We just let the light reflect off the life of our souls. That is the grace upon grace that we receive, and that is what the world needs on Christmas night.